Hello, my friends. Jacob is here once again, and I'm happy that you're here with me. Yay! Thank you for pressing play, for subscribing, for sharing, for liking, for commenting, for being my friends. Okay, today's show. Before I even get into the madness that is about to come upon our land, I want to talk to you about something really cool that just happened to me, and you're going to be looking out for this because this is bonkers. So I've only done, I don't know, a gabillion shows on CERN. And the collider, and Mandela effect, and all of that and amazing stuff. I've talked about all this stuff before. And I have actually imagined, because I always talk about the power of creation being likened to our imagination, I've imagined being able to interview and bring on the show, a particle physicist, somebody that has the ins and outs to all the madness, right? Someone who has insight into what was that human sacrifice all about, really? Someone who might have insight into that scientist that was holding on to the Mandela sign in the Happy video, and do they know something? Have they opened dimensions? Is time travel really possible? There's really not enough information out there. People haven't asked the questions about the sacrifice or about the Mandela effect. They haven't asked these questions. Well, so I've imagined possibly interviewing someone, and I do believe that when we put our thoughts out, that it has to return and it accomplishes what it was sent into the world to do. So here I put that thought out there saying, I'm going to do it. I actually even contacted, I'm in Long Island here, Brookhaven Labs. I sent them an email to try to get somebody to come and be interviewed on the show to talk about these things. Haven't gotten a response. But guess what happens yesterday? I bump into a particle physicist who has worked at CERN for I can't tell you how long. This guy's like a rock star. He's in his mid-20s, looks like something out of the movies. And he's really interested in talking to me. I'm going to interview him right here on the show in a different set, because I have other sets in my house. I did a little pre-interview with him, and I'd asked him some questions. I'd ask him stuff about time travel. I'd ask him stuff about the Dune experiment and the Awake project. I've asked him all the big questions, like who was that scientist holding that Mandela sign and why? Guess what? He was actually there when it filmed. Those are all of his friends. He knows that guy who held that sign, and he told me why he was holding that sign. And I got it on tape. And I may just preview a little bit. I might hint you a little bit on today's show, but this is not what the show is all about, because I want you all to get excited about that interview. It's going to happen probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm just hammering down when, but man, it's going to be cool, because too many people, and this is what I told this guy, I said too many people right now are scared of science and they're scared of progress. And when they do things like leak footage of human sacrifices, or when they do things like hold signs that say bury Nelson Mandela to try to mess with people, or are they messing with people? Either way, totally irresponsible. And these are the people that are smashing atoms, creating black holes, storing dark matter and antimatter? Okay, so anyway, here's just a little bit. Well, what does he do exactly? What does he do?
He is actually a theoretical physicist.
He's a theoretical. So he deals in the whole. So then he'll know a lot more about the Mandela effect. So he knew exactly what he was doing when he put that sign on. Right now would say that there's a possibility of alternate realities, that there's a possibility of alternate dimensions. They would say that it's possible. And they would also say, theoretical physicists would also say that there's a possible way to get into those dimensions by
smashing the particles.
Right. You pulled out like a Coca-Cola logo and you looked at it.
Yeah.
Like you could probably describe it. Coca-Cola, what's in the middle?
Yeah.
What separates the words Coca and Cola?
Minus.
A minus sign, a dash. Do you have your phone?
Yes.
Look up Coca-Cola logo right now. Okay. And you tell me if it looks different to you. Because guess what? That minus sign that you saw, it's never existed. It's always been a dot. It's always been a dot, and not in the middle like you remember, but at the top.
At the top.
And that's the Mandela effect, brother. So when that guy wore that little sign around his neck, it freaked out a lot of people.
Oh, God damn it. It is a dot.
It is a dot, and it's always been that way. So tell me that it's not possible.
Yeah.
So for that show, I hope you buckled up. But I hope that you're buckled up for today's show because I got something to say. A lot of people are worried about September 23rd, 2017. That sign, the sign that is in Revelations 12, which is about a virgin who is about to give birth, travailing in birth. She's clothed with the sun, she has the moon at her feet, and she's crowned with 12 stars. Okay, so there are a lot of people that are talking about that is going to be the return of Jesus. Now, I've done a video on this. Check the video out, but I want to touch on it a little bit because I think there's a bunch of stuff out there today that is getting a lot of people a little anxious. First of all, if we're going to go by the scriptures, no one knows the day or the hour. No one knows the time of the coming of Christ, which, by the way, that word come, it doesn't mean from one place to another. You've heard me talk about this on the show. I did the whole blanket thing over the head and said, oh, look, I have come, because the word erchomai in Greek, come, means to be revealed, manifested. It's no wonder that the kingdom of God is found within you. So, I've been talking about a day of, an awakening, if you will, a day where we just say, you know what, I don't want to live the way I was living before, and the world is bonkers, and you know what, I'm not going to be of the world anymore. I can be in it, but I'm going to work on my life. Because, see, I believe that spiritually we are more. I believe that we are connected to more. I believe that spiritually we can create and we can manifest. What is within comes without. I've talked about this. I mean, the power of creation, life and death, the scriptures say, is in your tongue. So whatever you believe and whatever you speak could become. I think that people are going to wake up to that. And I think they're going to wake up to these keys that Jesus gave, which was the keys of the kingdom. He said was, whatever is loosed in heaven shall be loosed in the earth. Whatever is bound in the earth will be bound in heaven. It's, and I may be saying that backwards. I don't have any cue cards or anything else to read from. But here, I'll just give it to you right here. So in other words, that whatever we believe becomes. Whatever heaven is within, and the earth is without. Okay, so we can just look at it that way. So I believe that we're entering a time where our dreams could become true. Today, people are focused on the wrong thing, and I think that people today really just have been brainwashed and conditioned to be very selfish. And I think that they've been brainwashed to put their faith in the future and not the moment, and to basically not do the work, but say someone else will do the work for me. I have a chapter in my book where Thomas releases these people from a prison of sorts, and they don't want to go because they know that to go would mean that they'd have to exist on their own without being told what to think. And we've all been programmed for so long to believe that everything that we're told is true, that when the truth comes to you and the truth says, hey man, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to say, maybe there's more. It's time for you to get quiet and just seek. Knock on that door to see what is there waiting behind it. Because it says that if you knock, the door will be open. If you seek, you'll find. We need to do that today. And I think that these celestial signs that everybody's so stressed out about, a lot of them, unless you watch my show a lot. I think that where people see darkness, I can show them light. Now, let's talk about some interesting coincidences that have some people going a little batty. Let's talk about what happens 2 days before this sign. Okay, so we have the eclipse, which was cool. 33 days later, we have that sign. But what happens a couple of days prior, right? Just like when my wife was about to give birth, those labor pangs, they started coming. But like right before she was about to give birth, I had to take her to the hospital this time, and she was screaming. She's like, okay, get me to the hospital. My point is, 2 days earlier, I think it's very coincidental that the Feast of Trumpets is taking place. The Feast of Trumpets, which is a holiday marking the birth of the return of the Messiah. It's a big deal. Now, a lot of people are talking about how that signal, I do find it interesting that it's, the trumpets right before, I think it's pretty interesting. But a lot of people, they don't really know what the Feast of Trumpets is all about. Feast of Trumpets it's a signal. They blast the horns to let you know that the Day of Atonement is coming. So you got like time to get your stuff together. The Day of Atonement is a day when you rid yourself of sin. Okay? And what sin is, according to Scripture, sin is not what you think. Sin is the thought of foolishness. It's the foolish thought. It's the stuff that, the lies that we believe, and, those voices in our head that are saying, oh, that person's mean to you. You better go do something to them. Or, oh, that person over there, they don't like you. Look at them. They're talking about you. No, you're not paranoid. You're just being manipulated by a voice in your head. Okay? So that's sin. To follow after that voice, to follow after that temptation. By the way, Jesus was tempted too. We're all tempted in all points. Okay? What does that mean? It means to be drawn away by your own lust, to drawn away by your own fear, to be drawn away out of the path of where you're supposed to be, which is a life of peace, a life of pure joy, a life of creation, a life of unity, a life that is worth living, which very few people are doing today, which is why this day that we're in is so important, because it's waking people up to what they are supposed to do with their life. Live. It's quite ironic that we have the festival and then we have the sign, and it's all about birth, there's a passage in the book of Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians, where it talks about when people everywhere are saying peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them. But the next line is what's really incredible, like a woman about to give birth to a child. When they're saying in the world peace and safety, then travail will come upon them, like a woman about to give birth, which is 2 days later. Now, why is this interesting? Well, on the exact same day, the UN is having its International Day of Peace. Do you want to know what the theme is? And I quote, on the 21st, the General Assembly has declared this as a day, they've declared this as a day to strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among all nations and all people. The theme, and I quote, for 2017 is Together for Peace, Respect, Safety, and Dignity. Now, a lot of people are saying that because of this, that means that destruction is coming to the world. I say no. I say things are going to continue to get a little more bonkers. Yes. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that things are going to get easier around the world. We're going to have a lot more of this nonsense, these terrible storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, all lions and tigers and bears, all the stuff. It's going to happen because the day of the Lord is a day of that, right? That's what they say, the day of the Lord. That word Lord, by the way, means existing one, the one who truly exists. So I think it's pretty cool. The day that the one who truly exists is revealed. So in other words, the real you that's buried beneath the idea of you, that ego that was formed in the dust of the earth. You came into the world and you were told what to believe and who to listen to and how to act and how to behave and you put your faith in this and put your faith in that and hate this and hate that. You were formed. Then you started eating of that tree and then you were cast outside of the garden. You're starting to put your faith in everything outside of you. Just like this sign that everybody's putting their faith in. Which is okay because, sometimes, we need the external sign to get us to go back within. My friend Evan, who I met within the last year when I was doing shows on the Mandel effect, money bags. This man he's just everybody should go and say hi to him and check out his stuff, especially if you're interested in the Mandel effect. Like, he's the go-to guy. But forget about that. He did a video just a little while ago. I guess he had said that a video that I did inspired him, and then he said something really nice about my channel, which I thought, well, wow, that was really great. So I had this great conversation with him, and we were talking about how we were excited for what was to come, and that I see something beautiful coming out of even these dark days. Peace and safety is being declared in the land 2 days before Jupiter is being birthed in Virgo, and you have this big sign, and the world is kind of a little loopy right now. Everybody's worried about the end of the world. Everybody's talking about the end of the world. The world that really is coming to an end is it's not the literal world, it's this system. I've been saying that forever. So of course we're going to see it manifested in the real world if that's what's happening within. When I see terrible things happen in the world, as much as it breaks my heart, and I know how hard it is for other people, I know that this isn't it. This isn't it for me. If this was it for me, how miserable would I be if this is all there is? This? I know my life is exciting and everything else, but it's short. Really, to be done at 80 or 90 or 100 if you're lucky. That's why there are so many people that are talking about transhumanism and, trying to find that fountain of youth and downloading ourselves into computers. And everybody's trying to find that pill so that you can live forever. Well, what if we already do? And right now we're here to learn something. Maybe we're really meant to learn to love. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe all of you are an extension of me and we're all connected. So every time that I hate somebody, I'm creating chaos and disruption and disorder in the world. There are many ancient beliefs that our negativity and our bad actions actually are like that butterfly wing that flaps and creates tsunami across the world. I believe that. I also believe that the more good that is put into the world, the brighter the world will become. And I think that's what's about to come upon us. I think things may seem to get a lot darker, but while things are getting darker on a majority scale, there's going to be a remnant, if you will, like a percentage. And I'm talking a lot of people. I'm talking just a literal 144,000. There's a significance to that number. One day I'll get into it. while the world is working together for togetherness and declaring peace and safety, will destruction come? I don't know, maybe. But I don't think that that's the point of this all, because the Day of Atonement is coming too. The Feast of Trumpets, that sound, that horn, when it's declared in the land, it's a call to change. It's a call for us all. And it's not that you're bad people, you're evil people. Because I'm not good. None of us are good. Ultimately, we all have stuff that we need to get rid of and we need to slough off. And what better way to do that than, the suffering of the oyster, tribulation, hard times, tried and tested till we be made pure. All the stuff that I was talking about, how it's playing out in the natural, happening also in the spiritual, which is why we should be excited, not scared. When these things happen, whether there's destruction or not destruction, whatever, all of these things are working together for our good. They're there to get our attention. I hope that I got your attention too. And I hope that you do. You take a moment to just say, hey, you know what? Maybe if there is more, but don't do it in public. Don't do it at your church. Go in private. Do it where no one's looking. That's what the scriptures say. Scriptures say that, you shouldn't do it like the hypocrite. Go in a closet where no one knows. And God says that he'll meet you there. The truth will meet you there. Because the truth is within. Point to your temples. That's where God sits. In any event, I love each and every one of you. I hope you got something out of this. Please do subscribe and share and do everything. And don't get stressed out about these things. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon.